Well, hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. We have another episode of the Leader's Edge today. And guess what? It's our second season. Wow. I didn't think I'd last this long here, but I'm here right now. And today you'll be very happy to note our guest because we're going to be talking about a very important topic that you might not even know is important. Like how Netflix was important and we didn't know it was important until Netflix actually showed its importance. And our guest today is Mr. Butch Guerrero. Okay, and Mr. Butch Guerrero, let me introduce him. He's the chairman Temps of Temps and Staffers. He's the past president of PALSCON, or Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, employer representative, Tripartite Executive Committee. We'll find out what that word means later. For those of you who don't know, of course, Membership Committee, Employers Confederation of the Philippines, and Vice Chairman, 41st National Conference of Employers. So if you're an employer and if you're an employee, this show is for you. So everybody, please give a warm welcome. Well, I know this is recorded and you'll do it later, but let's all give a warm welcome to Butch Guerrero. Hi, Butch. How are you?
Thank you for the kind introduction.
Oh, that wasn't kind. That wasn't kind. You're paying me. No, just kidding.
Okay. And
Okay. Yeah.
regards to Dino, and I would like to send my thanks to Dina for the invitation to be speaking in a very prestigious Leadership Edge second season, so to speak. So to all your viewers, a pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all.
Okay. Hey, Butch, I have a question for you. Before we get started, can you tell us a little about yourself that wasn't written in the intro?
Okay. Um, Actually, I've been involved in several organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm currently involved with the Employers Confederation of the Philippines. ECOP is the umbrella organization of all employer groups. Legally speaking, it has been designated and recognized by the government here locally and internationally to represent to be the single voice of the employer sector. When you say employer sector, you're speaking of all the corporations and the companies in the Philippines. In the Philippines. There you go.
Do you have to be a member of that? Like, I'm an employer. Of course, my company isn't that big, pero do you have to be a member of that organization? Meaning, you have to pay dues and stuff like that if you want to be a member?
Well, you do have to pay dues.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
not as big as what you think, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't segregate between small or big employers. It's that
Mm-hmm.
if you're an employer, you're an employer. If you employ
Mm-hmm.
people, then you're considered as an employer. It's not a matter of if you have less than 20 employees or you have thousands of employees. So as long as you are an employer, you share the same views and principles and issues as all employers. Because
Ah,
once the tripartite comes out with rulings and labor laws, then all employers are affected. So whether
okay.
you're small or you're big. So we don't segregate between small or big employer. We even have members who are not employers.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yes, they don't have a business, but they're still
Mm-hmm.
members. Just like Dina or
Mm-hmm.
FEMA, you don't have to be in HR
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be a member of FEMA. It just so happens that most of the members of FEMA are HR practitioners. Same with
Ah,
them. So
okay. Okay, what do I get by being a member? I mean, sorry, this is genuinely curious. I'm not doing it because I'm the host. Before we start, I'm sorry if this intro takes too long. But what do you get if by being a member? of ECOP?
Okay. If you are a member of the employer group, then you are updated with all the uh, new laws. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Second, you know what's happening in the employer sector.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you get to be you get your voice to be heard. If you have a
Okay.
problem with your employees or you have a problem with your business, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can cascade that to the leadership of the organization, and they will consider it. You will be surprised sometimes. The problems are coming from the small employers, but if 10 or 20 small employers are voicing out the same concern, then
Mm-hmm.
that there's goes an alarm signal that there is a problem with the employers. Maybe the big corporations are not being affected, but slowly it will creep in into the big corporations
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
starts with the
Agreed.
especially the employers at the forefront. Uh, for example, in this pandemic, in the case of pandemic, the big employers would feel the burden after 1 or 2 months. So if all the small employers are having problems with the same issue like employment, layoffs, then sooner or later it would reach the big employers. So that's a warning bell or a
Mm-hmm.
sounding board that there's a problem along the way. So we welcome small, big, medium, large corporations, top 1,000 corporations who are
Cool.
members of ECO.
So we can lobby
Yes,
Congress or government. Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Okay, great. Anyway, I don't want to take you from your topic too long. No, I understand you have a very unique topic. It's the first I've ever heard of it. Can you just give us a? Can you tell us the title of your topic today?
The topic is leadership in a tripartite setting. Okay. Tri-
Tripartite. Okay. For those
tripartite.
who, yeah. So those for those who don't, for the sake of those who don't know what that means, can you give a? Is it in your slides or?
It's in my slide.
Okay. So
I can
can
go through.
we jump to your slides already?
Sure.
Sure.
Can you
Yes,
now
I
see my
can.
slides?
You can press slideshow if you want. There you go.
All right. This is tripartite in the Philippine setting. Okay. Mostly I will focus on the Philippine setting before I go to the international setting. Okay. So tripartite, as defined, is a body composed of three bodies from the word tri-partite, three parties.
Mm-hmm.
But before I go further, I will try to define it with its core definitions. So to better
Okay.
understand and so that we can have a better discussion. Okay.
Cool.
So tripartism is composed of three parties as what I have said before. First, it's composed of business, which are the employers, composed of labor, which are the employees, and state affiliations, which is the government. In this case, it's the Department of Labor and Employment. Okay. So each sector is called a social partner to create
Mm-hmm.
policies in the government to foster cooperation, consultation, negotiation, and lastly, compromise, which leads to industrial peace. So that is
Okay.
what tripartism. It's composed of the
Mm-hmm.
business, the labor, and the
Interesting.
government.
Yeah.
So all labor laws passes through the tripartism mechanism. No labor law would pass no labor law would be implemented without passing through the tripartite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Now
Okay.
there is an international organization which is shortly called the ILO or the International Labor Organization. It is an attached agency of the UN. Okay. The United Nations headquarters is in New York and the ILO
Mm-hmm.
headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay? It uses the discussion between the three groups in drafting of standards and conventions. Okay? Also for the implementation of standards in national law, in our law right now. And the Philippine government um, signed it as a law in 1976 that the Philippines would adopt the tripartite mechanism to approve and consult labor laws in the Philippines. So again, no law, labor law, would be implemented or put in Congress without the approval of the tripartite group. And there are several tripartite groups. Basically, the
Okay.
smallest would be the regional tripartite. This
Mm-hmm.
would be the area like in Mindanao, in Visayas. And you have
Yeah.
the industry tripartite concerning the hotel industry. There is the security agencies. There is a group called uh, uh, the retail industry. There is
But are they all under ecom?
yes, yes. All report.
Okay.
All these regional and industry tripartites report to the tripartite executive committee, which I'm a part of. The tripartite
Oh.
executive committee is a national um, tripartite, which
Mm-hmm.
is comprised of both labor, government, and employers sector. So a lot of employers are member of this, but it's ECO who takes the lead. And all the members of the tripartite executive committee
Mm-hmm.
must be approved by the Secretary of Labor. In this case, it's Secretary Pebot Bello of the Department of Labor and Employment. And then after
Okay.
that, the highest tripartite body is the National Tripartite Industrial Peace Council. This is being chaired by the President of the Republic, or in such cases na hindi siya pwede, this is being chaired by the Secretary of Labor. That is the highest. So it
Mm-hmm.
goes to industry tripartite, then it goes to the regional tripartite, then it goes to the tripartite executive committee, then it goes to the National Tripartite Industrial Peace Council. And then it goes into law before any
Wow.
law can come
In
out.
short, in
The
short,
reason
this is a very influential agency group, right? Yeah.
yes, it is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
So the hard thing about this, labor have their own agenda,
Mm-hmm.
labor have their own uh, objectives, and so are
Mm-hmm.
employers. And right in the middle would be government, which is DOLE. So the objective of DOLE is to balance the needs of the employer groups and balance the needs of the labor group. The labor group are represented by the trade unions, and the very popular ones would be um, TUCP,
TUP. Yeah. TUCP.
TUCP, which they have a
Uh,
seat in Congress.
mm-hmm.
Second one would be FFW. You have
Mm-hmm.
Centro and 6 or 7 uh, labor groups
Mm-hmm.
uh, boasting a membership of around millions of
Yes.
union members. Next slide.
Okay. Next
Any
slide.
more questions? Boom.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see what. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Since we have convened what tripartism is in practice between workers, employers, and governments, um, the role of the representatives is to air out and voice specific policies. An example, one classic example would be in this pandemic, because if you lay off workers, you're entitled to pay them separation pay. Okay? And the big issue right now in our labor code, you can lay off employees if they have no work for 6 months. If they are in a work pool for 6 months
Mm-hmm.
and they have not been working, either you have to retrench them after 6 months or make them regular employees. Or if you're going to retrench them, you have to give them separation pay. Okay? That's one. So currently, right now, in this pandemic crisis, because we have lockdown, businesses are closed, people can go out. businesses don't want to let go of their employees because they have
Mhm.
trained them and they just don't want to let go of employees because of their skills and service. But
Yeah.
what the labor code dictates that you have to let them go after 6 months or you have to make them regular after 6 months. But the problem is you can't make them regular because there's no work, there's no business.
Hmm.
You can't let them go because what would happen by 2 months, 3 months from now, hopefully this pandemic is over, it's very hard to go after them again. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to plan,
So
really.
we are in a river, and
Hmm.
so that is what is being discussed in the tripartite right now. And the labor sector does not want to extend uh, the 6 months probationary period and the 6 months retrenchment furlough, what they call it furlough, because um, they want to be paid separation pay right now.
Uh-huh.
Because it's been such a long time, they don't have jobs, they don't have money to feed their families. So they want separation pay, which is 1 month for every year of service. So if you have
Hmm.
worked for 10 years in a certain company and you're going to lay them off, you have to pay them 1 month's salary times 10 years. And that's tax free. So that's a pretty big amount for an employee
Yeah,
and a pretty big amount if you're an employer, if you have
exactly. Yeah.
hundreds or thousands of employees. So we are in a crossroads right now, and that is an issue being passed through the tripartite. And
Are
hopefully,
are are the members of ECOP, I mean, actively trying to find a solution to this? Because as an employer myself, I am having a lot of problems with this type of practice, and basically it could kill a business, especially if it's a small business.
it will. It will kill a business, especially if it's a small business. Especially if your cash position is on at a disadvantage.
Hmm.
So we have to work together, the workers and the employers, and the government should come out with the um, proper guidelines and proper policy so that once it's announced in the news, there would be no violent reaction from either side. So
Yeah,
I guess we
hopefully,
can continue.
hopefully. Okay, so go ahead. This is
Okay,
interesting. I really
okay.
uh-huh.
Now going to steps in leadership, as I was
Mhm.
talking to Dina, the first thing that you have to be acknowledged in this tripartite procedure is permission. As I've
Okay.
said at the beginning, either you have to be recommended by your group, the
Hmm.
employers in my case, and then you have to get permission from the Secretary of Labor. So if you're recommended and you get permission from the Secretary of Labor, then your appointment papers are given, which gives you the right to sit in the tripartite. Okay.
Okay.
Now, um, once you're permitted, once permission is given, you have to be accepted because most of the labor leaders and the employers are they have been at this for 20, 30 years. And
Hmm.
then acceptance is who is this new guy? Like, who is Boom? Where did he come from? What is his background? Why is he here? Can we trust him? Does he speak with confidence and with discernment?
Hmm.
So you have to get permission, and after getting permission, you have to be accepted by your peers. And if
Hmm.
you're accepted by your peers in the tripartite, then you have to be accepted by the other side, which is also the government. So government would see, oh, this is Boom, he's from the leadership edge, and we just check his records and we ask around that it is a legitimate group, and we accept him. So acceptance is not only from your peers,
Hmm.
acceptance is from the other side, from labor, and acceptance is from the government, in
Government.
this
Yeah.
case, Dole. So it's acceptance from the three groups. Okay?
Okay.
And then you have to getting to know. They will get to know you as you speak, like what we're doing right now. The
Hmm.
ideas and the principles that you're fighting for, what kind of person you are, what kind of group you're representing. In this case, I'm representing the service contracting industry because that's the business I am in right now.
Mhm.
Um, and then you're setting up objectives. Um, this doesn't have to be in this order. You have to have your objectives first, then permission, then acceptance, or you can set your objectives before getting to know. So it's a flexible thing, okay? But this
Okay.
has to be earned, okay? And then the trade-off. Most of the issues, like what I mentioned before, concerning the 6-month furlough, is a very tricky situation for three parties. So you have to have a trade-off. We want this included, but the other party would want. So we have to find a common ground or a common policy that would benefit. That would the operative word is a policy that is fair to all
Mhm.
parties. Okay, so that's where the
Okay.
trade-offs come in, and then the journey as you go along, you will be able
Mhm.
to solve a lot of problems. Some people would be angry, some people would be very emotional,
Yeah.
some people don't care at all. So that's the journey. That's the journey.
Uh-huh.
And in my case, this passing of the knowledge, because
Mhm.
most of the members of the tripartite are senior and up. I'm not a senior yet.
Mhm.
So the people above you or the people who have been sitting in the tripartite would teach you from time to time, would give you words of advice. So this is a way of passing the knowledge before they retire, or passing of the knowledge. This is what we did 10 years ago. This is what
Mhm.
we did in the time of Fidel Ramos. This is what we did in the time of Cory. So now this is what we're doing in the time of Duterte. So there's a passing of knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. So this may come in before acceptance, sometimes even before you're appointed, they would ask you this. And then the
Mhm.
blessings that would come. Um, most, if you know that trade union leaders, um, they speak very fast and they put a lot of agenda. But once you know their agenda and you know their style and you know how they speak, and then you would smile when they're speaking, it's okay with them because they already know. They have already blessed you with their camaraderie, with their success stories in the past.
Yeah.
So these are the steps in leadership. I hope I was able to explain that.
Yeah, it's very clear actually. I
Yeah.
mean, I learned a lot. I have no question actually, except maybe the journey. You know, people who don't care. Are you talking about me? No, no, just kidding.
No, I'm not definitely I'm not talking about you. I'm talking
Okay.
about the member of the tripartite.
All
So
right.
it's a clash of personalities. Sometimes
Uh-huh.
it's a um, cooperation of personalities. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the issues. Depends
Mm-hmm.
on, but right now, what I see in this pandemic, both labor and employers are agreeing that there is a problem. So I'm very happy when I see that there is an
Uh-huh.
acknowledgement of a problem, that
Mm-hmm.
there is no work, and if there is no
Mm-hmm.
work, there is no employee, there is no
Mm-hmm.
employer.
So
And
are they cooperative? Is the atmosphere like cooperative? Are they trying to cooperate with each other? Is it a powder keg, or is it about to explode? How's the atmosphere between labor and employer
well,
nowadays?
the the atmosphere right now is more of acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
Both parties are acknowledging that there is a problem. Both parties
Mm-hmm.
are acknowledging that there is a pandemic. As a result, people don't have jobs.
Yes.
It's very hard for the trade unions, the
Mm-hmm.
labor group, because they don't have money to buy food to bring to their tables. And for employers, they can open up, they can employ because there's a lockdown.
Yeah.
And the government, through DOLE, is also acknowledging that there is a problem because our unemployment rate right now is at 7 to 8 million individuals. 7 to 8 million don't have jobs, and 100 to 120,000 small to micro companies have closed down. So if this continues, um, we might not be able to step out of the glut.
Mm-hmm.
And we are worried that if we don't step out of the glut, and as you mentioned a while ago, too, that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
companies have problems and a lot of companies have closed down, we might not be able to pump prime the economy in the future. And it will take a long, long time before we can get back to our lives. So we don't
Yeah.
want that as employers because as the economy is vibrant, it's better for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
not only for each group, but for all the groups.
Yeah. I want to ask a question, but I don't know if it's in your slides. If it's in your slides, just tell me.
Okay.
Okay. Like I wanted to ask, moving forward, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask it, but moving forward, what is government and what is the tripartite doing, or what are the steps they are taking to ensure that the economy survives this pandemic? But if you have it in your slides later on, you don't have to answer that now, okay?
No, I can answer it right now
Okay.
because I'm pretty updated on what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think what the government is doing is Congress is still approving the Bayanihan to Heal Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is, it's a 3 trillion peso budget that
Mm-hmm.
would that would be given to all the agencies so that they can now give this to distressed individuals. They can give this to DOH. They can give this to DOLE, yung
Mm-hmm.
uh, as an ayuda or
Mm-hmm.
assistant to people who have lost their jobs. They can give this to the armed forces. Is always education.
Yeah.
And currently, right now, they want to open up the economy. DTI is opening up certain industries, not all the industries, but
Mm-hmm.
in the last report I just read this morning, they're opening up restaurants, they're opening up some retail establishments, they're opening up 100% the HMOs, they're
Mm-hmm.
opening up the overseas employment agencies. Those
Mm-hmm.
people who want to go out of the country and work abroad, they're opening it up already so people can go to other countries like nurses. They placed a ban on nurses because it's
Mm-hmm.
needed in the country, but right now they need to go out and fulfill their contracts.
Uh-huh.
So they're slowly opening it up, and
Okay.
they're. But the funny thing is, I was looking for transportation, and there's no indication of opening up transportation.
That's weird.
And that's one of the biggest problems we have
Uh-huh.
here. We can open up our business, but our employees cannot go to work because there's no transportation. So most, like me, myself, most of my employees are stay in, they sleep
Mm-hmm.
in the offices, and most of them, we pick them up uh, in a common area, and then after office hours, we take them back to the common area where we pick them up to prevent the
In
transmission of the
in our case naman, it's work from home. Ano, we get the people to work from home since mostly it's creative work, so they can do that at home. Ano, and yeah, that eliminates the transportation need. Ano? So, pero yeah, you're right because there's still a big need for transportation. Well,
virus.
anyway, if it's still in discussion, then I hope we learn something about it later on.
Yes, yes. Actually, we're doing that work from home also. But when we interviewed all our employees, the number one requirement to work from home is you need to have a laptop or a computer. Two, you have to
Mm-hmm.
have a stable internet connection, and not all of them have stable internet connection. And then third, the nature of the job. When we were in a management meeting several weeks back, there are only a few job descriptions that can work from home. Example, when they started telling us that the drivers will be working from home, you can't do that because
No,
they
you
need to
can't.
drive. The receptionist needs to work from home. You can't do that because the job is a receptionist. And the janitor and the admin assistants needs to work from.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that because they should be in the office to trying to assist the employees who are working from home. So not all our jobs can effectively work from home. But the basic premise is they should have a stable internet
Mhm.
and they should have a working laptop or a personal computer
Yes, definitely.
to
Agreed, agreed.
properly work from home and the nature
Uh-huh.
of the job.
Agreed, agreed. That's why I have to pay for the upgrade of their internet,
Oh, that's
which
additional.
is yeah the additional cost. Pero we got rid naman of the rental for the office
Mm-mm.
because we got rid of the office already. So I guess paying for the upgrade of their internet isn't that much of a big deal.
Okay. So it just offsets it.
Yeah,
What
not really. I think we're actually saving more right
are
now virtually. Yeah, because
good?
the rent for the office space, the transportation fees and everything are brought down. The thing is, although we cut costs, we also cut income because the clients are very stingy right now, and it's very hard to get clients right now, especially in this pandemic. But both cost and income went down. So that's our situation, and I think it's a situation with a lot of other smaller employers as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Agree, agree. Not all, not all can.
Not all, not all. Yes, let me quantify that. Not all. Okay, so can we
Next
move
slide.
forward? Yeah, let's next slide, please.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
here we go.
how it all started. This is the problem with our industry. Now I'm going to our industry because this is what I represent in the tripartite.
Okay,
During the presidential debates of President Duterte, Karen Davila interviewed this person. Okay, his name is
okay.
Carlos Miguel Francisco. He is a native of Camarines Norte.
Yeah,
So
I saw this interview. Yeah,
really, so in
yeah.
2013, he worked at a retail store under a 5-month contract. And then his contract ended. Then he found a job as a bagger at a large supermarket chain. And again, his 5-month contract ended. So, and then he found a job as a promodizer at an appliance store and as a canteen server. And then
Mhm.
his 5-month contract ended.
And then yeah.
So this is the 555. His contract is always ended after 5 months. So why 5 months? Because in the labor code, as what I've said before, if you've been working for more than 6 months and 1 day,
Mm-hmm.
it means you should be a regular uh, of that company or corporation
Mm-hmm.
or that business organization. But in this case, he is not being regularized. So
Yes.
there is a problem right now that the labor group is saying that uh, dapat bawal na yung 555 or this is an illegal um, setup already. A lot of people are asking, why 555? Why not 333? 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. Because you don't train an employee in 3 months, you need to optimize it at 5 months. Why not 6 months? Because in 6 months plus 1 day, he is being regular. So the practice, which is a fraudulent practice and which we disagree, is on a 555 basis.
Mm-hmm.
So this is disadvantageous to the employee. Okay?
Okay.
So there are a lot of misconception in the service contracting industry. The labor groups are saying we are all practicing this 555, which is not true. Contractual workers don't have benefits, which is SS and PhilHealth, pag-ibig and 13th month pay. But they do. They do have all this. All contractual workers are abused?
Yes.
I don't think so. All contractual workers want to be regularized. My contractual workers, they don't want to be regular because they just want to work for 3 months, 4 months, and they get their pay. And they want to rest
Mm-hmm.
for another 3 months. And contractuals are bad for the economy. The World Bank issued a study that contractuals or temporary employment contracts are good for the economy. Like when you construct a building, when you do shipbuilding, when you do construction, when you do, you are in the creatives boom. So when you do a certain
Yeah.
project, then you get a benefit from that and you start
Mm-hmm.
another new project. So endo cannot be completely eliminated because there are services that
True.
to be done. For example, in our country setting, the Philippines experiences a lot of storms. So if there's a storm and a lot of houses are destroyed, then you only need the workers for X number of months to fix all the destroyed houses. And then after they're all fixed, you don't need their services anymore.
Yeah.
And service
Exactly. Yeah.
contracting is a worldwide trend. We're not the only country practicing it in practice in all, even in the developed countries, because we know that work has a start and as an end, especially in contractual obligations. So these are the misconceptions in our industry, and the leadership is always counteracting this. However, the trade unions would want to play these misconceptions, so we would be placed in a bad light. If we are placed in a bad light, we are the bad group. So all their agenda can
Mhm.
be pushed through because they believe that if our industry is removed, there will be more union members for them. Take note. If you are a union
Mhm.
member, they get 500 pesos of your salary every 15 days. So they get 1,000 pesos for a month from one union member. Did you know, Boom, that the
Mhm.
union industry in the Philippines is a 6 billion peso industry? Did
Yeah,
you
I
understand?
sort of had that idea, but I didn't
So
think it was that big.
it's huge,
Mhm.
and um, it's huge. I'll stop there. I don't want to go into because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're trying to throw us misconceptions, I don't want to throw misconceptions at them because the issues will never end if we start throwing misconceptions at each other.
Mhm.
Um, there are three types of employment. Okay, on the left
Mhm.
side, you have the employer. On the right side, you have an employee. First setup is you directly hire these people. Once you
Mhm.
sign them up, they are called probationary employees. And
Yeah.
after 6 months, you make them regular employees. That's the first step. Okay. Second is you hire them to a placement agency,
Mhm.
a private agency. And the private agency would recommend this to your company, and you would pay a certain fee to
Okay.
the private agency for sourcing that employee for your company. That's the
Mhm.
second. Okay. And third would be you engage a service contractor just like us. So, and among those, there are several types of employee. You have a
Mhm.
regular employee, which is works with you until he or she wants to retire. You have a
Mhm.
casual employee. This is defined in the labor code. Like, for example, you have a female, a secretary
Mhm.
female, who got pregnant and then gives birth. Currently,
Yeah.
right now, she's entitled to 3 months with pay, but since she just gave birth, she can't go to work and she has to take care of the baby. You need
Okay.
another employee to replace her
Mhm.
in the meantime that she's on her maternity leave. That's what you call a casual employee. You have a
Mhm.
seasonal employee, which is being um, employed by the big food companies,
Mhm.
like Pure Foods. I've worked from retail.
Mhm.
So, did you know that 90% of hams are sold in November and December?
Yeah,
So,
I okay, sige. I
yeah,
have a story about that, but go
yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
okay. So, they need a lot of merchandisers, they need a lot of promoters, they
Mhm.
need a lot of logistical deliveries,
Mhm.
deliver all those hams. So, you need seasonal employees for that, okay? For
Yeah.
the Christmas season.
Uh-huh.
Um, and for project employees, you have like constructing a building. Like,
Mhm.
for example, you get the electrical system of that building. But once the electrical system is done, that group will now end their project and move on to another group. another project. Okay? You have a probationary employee, what the labor code dictates that they are probationary for 6 months, and then after six
Mhm.
months, they become regular employees. And you have contractors employees, which
Okay.
ends as their contract is ended. So these are basically the different type of employees and the different type
Mhm.
of employment um,
Okay.
arrangement arrangements that we have.
So, Butch, just to before you continue on that one, how is a service contractor different from a, let's just say, an agency? Is it an agency?
Well, it is an agency,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not being used anymore because
Mm-hmm.
agency has a negative connotation. And
Mm-hmm.
currently,
Okay.
there are two types of agencies right now.
Mm-hmm.
The first agency is the overseas placement agency,
Yes.
which talks with the principal in Dubai or somewhere abroad, and
Mm-hmm.
then sends the workers to that country and they fulfill a 1 or 2 year contract. And
Okay.
the other agency is us, which we call service contracting. Um, we talk with the principal in this slide. We talk with the principal. In this case, like an example would be San Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we are the subcontractor. There's a service agreement between San Miguel and us. And we have an agreement between us and the worker. So we now deploy this worker, whether
Mm-hmm.
as a project employee
Okay.
or as a contractual employee to San Miguel. So you have, again, a tripartite relationship or a
Yeah.
trilateral
Yeah.
relationship between the
Labor agents, labor's
between
service
the
contractor and
principal, service
employer.
contractor, and the worker. And
Okay. Yeah.
this is being done so that the principal can now focus more on their core competence. Their core competence would be marketing these products. They don't
Yeah.
want to be burdened with sourcing. They don't want to be burdened with discipline, rules and
Mm-hmm.
procedures,
Yeah.
payroll. Payroll is a very complicated process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we advance the payroll to these workers. And
Okay.
like the principal, or in this case, an example would be San Miguel, um, would now be able to focus on new products, strategies in the market, manufacturing, and the likes, rather than spend their time having such a big HR group. This is where we
Mm-hmm.
come to take over um, the duties and responsibilities of the HR so that we can hire these employees to be assigned at San Miguel.
Okay. Clear.
And we
That's
also
clear.
train them. Huh? We also
Ah,
train
yeah,
these
yeah.
workers. We explain it to them. We take care of all their maternity leaves. We take care of their
So
SSS.
basically, they're your employees, not
Yes,
the
they are our
employers. Yeah.
employees. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
They are not the employees of the principal or Sanilla in this case. They
Yeah.
are the
Okay.
employees of the service contractor.
Yes. That's clear now. That's clear
Yes.
now. Okay. All right. So what happens if you can't market them?
Oh, well,
Yeah, I mean,
we can.
like they've stayed with you for like a year already or 2 years, and then suddenly that specific job function is no longer that marketable.
Well,
How
well, if the employee boom, if I may, is really good, uh,
mm-hmm,
like a merchandiser or promoter who's selling
mm-hmm,
millions of products,
mm-hmm.
San Miguel or the principal company would not want to let go of that employee. It's
Okay.
either he wants that employee to be absorbed
Mm-hmm,
in their company, or he wants to retain the contract between them and the service contractor, because
mm-hmm,
the service contractor is doing a lot of positive things for basically for their sales function.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And all the launch of the new products are a success. The products are moving to shelves. The supermarkets are very happy.
mm-hmm.
The appliance manufacturers are happy. So they would try to retain the contract between the service contractor and the principal. And the service
Okay.
contractor, usually, if the worker is very good, would want to make him part of his internal hires
Mm-hmm.
to promote him and to lead to a better, higher,
Okay.
and more rewarding position.
Okay, I have a real life example kasi. And this has happened to one of my clients. My client has a manufacturing, EPSA zone manufacturing,
Yes.
small manufacturing. And they part of their employees, part of the manufacturing staff are are under a service contractor. Okay, and then what happened is they were bought by a larger group, and the larger group decided to automate
Mm,
a big part of their so the whole lab I mean, in fact, every single contractual employee went lost their jobs. Okay,
mm,
if that had happened to you and you were the service provider, how can you how would you handle these situations?
mm.
So how would you
Well,
handle?
one thing, one thing, we talk to the employees individually, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and tell them, do you still want to work? And do you still want to find another company
Mm-hmm.
working basically the same job definition? If they
Mm-hmm.
would say yes, we would place them in another manufacturing company,
Okay.
given the same job and employing the same skill sets they have.
Mm-hmm.
If they would agree, that's one. Second, if they don't want to work anymore, they want to pursue a different career, or
Mm-hmm.
they have plans of going abroad, we give them separation pay, and we give them their employment certificate and help them find new jobs. That's the second. And third, sometimes they don't want to work anymore. So they just
Okay. Yeah.
resign from the company
Mm-hmm.
and they disengage the services of service contractors. Sometimes they get friends with the principal company. They need a new supervisor. Then we let them go with
Mm-hmm.
the principal and wish them all the best
Mm-hmm.
uh, in their new position with the principals.
All right.
Um,
Okay. That's
funny,
clear. That's
yeah,
clear.
funny.
Yeah.
One thing sometimes I have been in the business for 30 years already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some of our employees are already high-ranking officials in principals.
Mm-hmm.
So when they talk to us, they call us, they want our services, and then we
Mm-hmm.
talk to our former employees because they're on the principal side of it.
They're not
So
clients.
nakakatuwa. It's a funny thing. They
Yeah.
used to be they used to be your employees, but right now they are the ones dictating what the contract should be or not. So again, as what I've said
Mm-hmm.
before, there's trust in leadership already because they
Mm-hmm.
know us, they have worked for us, and they know that hindi sila naisahan
Mm-hmm.
or they had a good experience with us. So they would highly recommend us to their company. And this has been a good business model for us. That's one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
um, they we getting new clients. But the
Good.
funny thing is right now in
Uh-huh.
this pandemic, one principal would stop operations
Mm-hmm.
and then we don't have anywhere to place them
Mm-hmm.
because all the manufacturing companies are closing down or um, they stop their operations. So this is the predicament of the tripartite that
Mm-hmm.
we don't know if we want to let go of these employees or we want to hold on to them. So we're in a crossroads right now
Mm-hmm.
because of this pandemic that's happening to us.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, can we continue now with the slides again?
Go
I'm
ahead, go
sorry.
ahead. Okay. Oh, this
There we
is
go.
just the contracting sequence.
Mm-hmm.
First, the yellow part is principal enters to a service agreement with the contractor. In my previous example, this was San Miguel. And the contract is specific to work, and there's a time period. When you say a contract,
Mm-hmm.
it has to specify what kind of work needs to be done by that individual,
Mm-hmm.
and there should be a start and an end.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be open-ended.
Okay.
And there is now a law that the contractor has to have 5 million paid up capital.
Mm-hmm.
And then the contractor hires the employees, and the contractor, if the contractor fails to pay the wages of the worker, it is the obligation of the principal to pay for the wages of the employees. That's why you
Okay.
have to get a very good or a reputable service contracting agency, because in the
True.
labor code it says the wages of the employee is jointly and severally liable by the contractor and the principal.
I remember when the capitalization was only 1 million. That was a long time ago.
There was a time,
Mm-hmm.
2010, that
Mm-hmm.
the license fee was 100 pesos.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
just imagine? Can you just imagine? Later, I'll show
Yeah.
you the next slide
Uh-huh.
shows you the history, but this is a long. This was Department Order 18-8. We are
Mm-hmm.
currently right now in Department Order 174. So
Mm-hmm.
just to give you an idea, in 2012, the blue line represents the old Department Order. So it was
Okay.
increasing, and as it
Mm-hmm.
was increasing, the new Department Order was increasing.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, there were 4,809 in 2012 licenses
Mm-hmm.
for service contracting. And in 2014, it's down to 4,457. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a transition between the two. Now, when we migrated to 174, uh, the 18A went down exactly the same way as it is. And then 174
Mm-hmm.
did not go up as high because the standards based on the tripartite went up higher. As I was saying, the license was only 100 pesos. Right now, the license is the most expensive in all the registration, which is
Yeah.
100,000 pesos. So from 100 pesos to
Pesos.
100,000 pesos, not all
Yeah.
can comply. Plus the fact that you
Uh-huh.
need a minimum of 5 million paid up capital, not all can comply. Did you know
Yeah.
in 1802,
Uh-huh.
all, most of the contractors in the list were um, vulcanizing shops, hardware companies,
Mm-hmm.
security agencies. There were several in the list of band members doing gigs
Mm-hmm.
in different clubs,
Yeah.
because it was only 100 pesos. But when they bumped it up to 100,000 and a paid up capital of 5 million, I think from 16,000 it went down to 8,000. Now it's 4,000, and I think it's a little more than 3,800 plus. And with this pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the numbers are right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they went down.
Yeah. Uh, it's going to plateau. It's going
Yeah.
to go down very low. And plus the fact that boom, that a lot of people have lost their jobs already.
Yeah. I know. I know. I have people in the neighborhood begging for food. Not
Yeah,
money, yeah, food.
I've heard that.
So
This is not the first time that I've heard of that.
mm-hmm.
And they would knock on your doors and they would ask for food. So
Nakakaawa.
oh,
Yeah, it's very heartbreaking.
it's a reality. There was
Mm-hmm.
a Grab delivery in my house last
Mm-hmm.
month, and then the Grab delivery recognized me. Sir, kamusta na
Mm-hmm.
kayo? And I got apprehensive. How do you know
Mm-hmm.
me? And he told me I'm a waiter in one
Mm-hmm.
of the restaurants that where you frequent. Okay, I will
Mm-hmm.
not mention the name of the restaurant.
Okay, okay.
And and now I'm delivering food, delivering items because I have a motorcycle
Mm-hmm.
and the restaurant closed down because it's in a mall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he's making a living right now, delivering for
Exactly, yeah.
Grab. So sabi ko, I told him, that's good.
At least they're
Because he was
surviving,
able
no?
to adapt, di ba, from a
Yeah, yeah,
waiter to a
yeah.
delivery person. And now, the good thing, he's earning more.
Yeah, they're
He's
probably
earning
the
more as
ones
a
that are.
delivery guy.
Yeah,
Di
I
ba?
agree. I agree. I agree.
So, well, Well, that's one
Oh wait,
good.
hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
I lost the feed.
Oh, hi, Butch. It seems like Boom lost his connection, so we'll just stand by here.
Okay,
But I love the discussion between the two of you. You know, it's
thank,
beautiful.
thank.
Um, my
I
own
didn't know.
experience.
I didn't know, Dina. It was already 57 minutes.
Yeah,
We've
time
been
does
talking for
fly.
57 minutes already.
That's right. Sarap talaga ng usapan eh.
Alam
Uh,
mo, I really, Dina, what I really want is to talk about the good things right now, like that waiter who's now a Grab delivery
that's
rider.
right. Uh-uh.
And I love, okay, since Boom got disconnected, I'll tell you another good story. I have an employee who goes to work every day. Okay? And since there is no, he's a driver, and he needs to be in the office at 4 a.m. So he would ride his bicycle from his house to our office here in Quezon City. And did you know that he's so happy? Because riding a bicycle, he lost weight. He used to have a lot of cholesterol problems, high blood problems, sugar problems. Now it's all gone. And you know
Wow.
what? He told me, sir, this is good. The pandemic cured all my disease because he lost weight because of bicycling every day. So, I told myself, there are good things coming out of this pandemic. For one thing, your health improved a lot. And financially, since he stopped buying maintenance meds, and because he's riding the bicycle on a regular basis, so he was so happy. His wife is so happy. He felt a lot better. He felt a lot good. So there you go. There are positive things that comes out of this lockdown thing.
Indeed. In fact, I had a friend who retired already from the semicon industry who
Okay.
remarked that he hasn't had any reason to use his credit card ever since the pandemic started.
Yeah,
And so
yeah. Okay. So he
he,
has more money right now.
he has more money right now.
Okay.
And so there are always going to be silver linings behind every cloud.
Yeah.
For a lot of us,
Yeah.
myself included, we've learned how to retool, reskill. Um,
Yeah.
I never knew how to do video editing, sound editing
Really. Mm.
until I had to, and now I'm pretty good at it. So I'm pretty sure that somewhere out there there will be outfits who will need my skills to put together videos and upload them to YouTube,
Mm.
and I can do that for them because
Yeah.
I've gotten really good at it.
Exactly. Like my kid, my youngest kid is in online um, schooling right now. But when before the lockdown happened, it would take her an hour and a half to go to school, and it would take her another an hour and a half to go home. Right now, she's enjoying homeschooling because she's at home. She's in the house. She can wake up late, do her classes, do her assignments, and then sleep early. So the burden of traveling an hour and a half to and from the school is is gone already. So she's very happy with online schooling. There you
That's
go.
true. Yeah.
Right.
Also, the Earth is recovering. We're getting
Exactly, exactly. Animals are coming out. The air is a lot cleaner. Well, traffic is still there. No, I'm
yeah,
not
it
sure what
is.
traffic. When I go out, traffic is still there. Should
Hmm.
be clean. So I don't know. But the earth is getting cleaner. I
Yes.
agree with that. The seas are coming back to normal. And yeah, it's healing. It's healing. And I too myself, I'm healing because I got hospitalized 2 years ago. And this lockdown made me heal better. Not only the earth, but myself. It made me heal better. So faster, better, and that I thank God for that.
Yeah,
So there's a
indeed.
lot of things to catch up to, Dino. And then time with family. You almost see each other. You eat together. So you have a family, right, Dino?
Yeah,
You
I
have kids.
do. My son is studying online with UST. My
Okay.
daughter is still in elementary. Uh,
Oh,
but one of the things that I really like is how we've grown closer
yeah,
as a family unit.
exactly.
Um, I'm sure you'll notice we've been more involved in their education, and
Yeah,
it's no longer a matter of they're asleep by the time we get home, or
exactly.
they're no longer around by the time we leave. So there's more oneness, there's more closeness within family
Correct.
units.
Correct. Agree. Agree.
Mm,
So there are a lot of things positive about this laptop.
indeed.
So that's very heartwarming to hear. Very heartwarming to experience that it gave something positive to all of us.
True enough. And it seems like we may have to run this entire episode on our own because boom.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm enjoying this.
Mm,
I'm
uh,
enjoying this. Yeah.
Indeed, me too. I was resonating with everything that both of you were discussing, as there was a time, as part of my own life story, that I became a manager of an animation company, that's Burbank Animation. But
Oh,
before that happened to me, I was
Burbank. Wait, are you in the US right now?
no, that was in the Philippines, in
Ah,
Legazpi
okay.
Village, Makati.
Okay.
And there was a time, because of my being such a good speaker with Toastmasters and with Dale Carnegie as a trainer,
Okay.
that the people in our office voted me as vice president of the labor union. And
You're on the labor side.
yeah, for a
What union
while,
was this? What
uh,
union was this?
Burbank Animation Incorporated Employees Association.
Okay.
We went through a certification election so that
Yeah.
we weren't infiltrated by the bigger
Sorry,
outfits. Yeah,
Boom is back.
uh,
Boom is back.
that's okay, Boom. Uh,
I I forgot to plug my laptop and it the battery went dead.
oh, that's
Oh,
all. For sure, this
you're
will go
okay now.
into the blooper portion.
We were talking about being a union rep in an
Yeah,
Oh,
in a
yeah.
wow.
urban animation.
That,
So
yes,
I know where he's coming from because he coined the word certificate of election,
yes,
and that's very
Oh,
touchy
oh,
issue.
yeah.
You have
Uh,
to have that to be the legitimate union of a certain company. Without the
mhm.
certificate of election, DOLE will not recognize you as the legitimate union. So,
yeah.
and a
And
lot of
Okay.
people would want to get their hands on the certificate of election.
yeah, that's true. And when our president was scheduled to step down already, and the people were eyeing me to step up to take his spot, something really strange happened. The
What
management of the
happened?
company promoted me out of the running, made me
Ah,
a
yeah,
manager.
manager. Yeah.
Yeah,
Manager. You're not automatically you are not a member of the union.
true. So it was surreal to sit on one side of the CBA table and then the following year to sit on the other side.
So
Uh,
you were in CBA negotiations already.
as well. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
Uh,
used to be. I used to be, but I was always management.
okay. But the
No, I
beautiful.
really in my previous companies, kasi when you're in sales, I'm usually salespeople are not part of unions. So when I was in that area, I wasn't a part of the union. Pero when you get to management, you become a part of management, and then you go to
Correct.
CBAs as well.
The,
I
I'll
think the union was saying, I think the union Dina was saying would be the rank and file union. But there are
Yeah, yeah.
unions right now that are management unions, but it's kind of shaky because if you're management, how can you negotiate with yourself? So it's where the problem.
so to restore the interview between the two of you, I'll just wrap up by saying that the biggest take home I got from those experiences were that both sides uh, do have their challenges, and from my perspective, I learned to appreciate it from both ends. And so, all I can really say to contribute to this episode is that there has to be collaboration between both management and labor. It cannot and should never be just a one-sided discussion. And with that, I'd
That's
like.
my closing remark.
Oh,
You
sorry.
stole my closing remark, Dina.
Yeah, don't do it.
So it's
Don't
okay.
steal it. Don't steal it.
It's,
Don't
it's
steal it.
okay because I would rather have Dino close it because I'm at the end of my presentation already.
Oh, you were.
Okay.
Oh, you were.
Before you went out, Boom, before your
Mhm.
computer ran out of battery, Boom and I were discussing about the positive things coming out of this lockdown and pandemic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
First was, I just told Dina I had an employee because he did not have transportation. He would ride his bicycle to and fro
Yeah.
from his home to the office. And then he used to have a lot of health problems. You have to have high blood, high sugar, high cholesterol. And when he started riding his bike, he lost weight.
So
His blood
positive pa
pressure
pala.
went down, his cholesterol went down, everything went down. And he feels a lot better right now. And then he was telling me it's a good thing that there's this pandemic. I can now exercise regularly. And he rides his bike all the way from Fairview up our office in West Avenue. So there you go. That's a positive.
Well, there will always be some positives.
And then I asked Dina about his family, and he still has an elementary kid. And my youngest is in high school, and she's so happy because when school was out, it would take her an hour and a half to reach school, and an hour and a half to go home. But
Mhm.
right now, she does not leave the house. She enjoys it very well, and she has more time for herself. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things coming out
No,
positive.
there are positives and there are negatives. It's just that you weigh it. For some of us, the negatives outweigh the positives. Uh, pero there will always be positives and negatives.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Okay.
How
I
do we
think
move forward from here?
Dina closed it for me already. That
Really?
before
That's
and
it?
unions have to meet and come out with fair practices and we need to work together because he saw it because he's been on the union side and he's on the
Mhm.
management side, which is rare, Dino. Not
Yes.
all can see the sides. Very rare.
Mm. It's one
So
reason
if
why, as a
we can work
consultant,
together,
yeah,
we can make positives,
mm-mm,
right?
yeah,
Right.
true.
Yeah. Did you know that Dino, did you know that I'm a professional negotiator?
No, I didn't.
I'm hired sometimes by companies to negotiate on their behalf, but never for labor. It's usually for like mergers, and ang tawag nito. I've done it already 3 times.
Mhm.
Twice for a merger and one is for an acquisition.
Mhm.
So um, I get that a lot. Pero
Yeah,
I think the most complicated is labor talaga. Kasi
it,
feelings na ang involved eh. Feelings na.
yeah.
I mean, the feelings are involved in it.
Yeah.
Mm. My
Wala,
own.
I'm privileged to talk to the two gentlemen here because you're very familiar with both sides. You've
Mhm.
been on the worker side, you've been on the management side, you have been on the negotiation side. But
Yeah.
let me tell you that this tripartite thing is a negotiation between two
Mhm.
parties who have different objectives. But if we
That's
can work together, come out with results
Wow,
that are
yeah.
acceptable to both parties, then there you go, no problems. And it's easier said than done.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
if it's easier said than done, we don't need consultants like ourselves.
right. Um, the one
Right?
issue here is always
Um,
going to be trust, and trust is built
yeah,
over time. And
yeah,
Mhm.
so I guess this was really
yeah.
a great episode, and so I'd like to let Boom and you have the closing part. So I'll just
Okay,
hide myself now.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so I lost
can
you.
I start on the closing part so Boom can
Sure,
end?
sure. Go ahead, go ahead, go
All
ahead.
right. Well, thank you to Dina and to Dino. and to Boom for the invitation. It has been a privilege and an honor to be interviewed on your channel. And it's so promising to see that talking to two individuals who are well versed in both sides of management and employee. And you guys are very natural in what you do. So I just would like to greet your viewers more power, more blessings. And so we discussed, there are a lot of positive things we can see,
Mhm.
experience, and hopefully come out of this lockdown and pandemic. So blessings to the Leadership Edge, blessings to both of you, and blessings to your endeavor right now. May you have more audience, more views, more subscribers, and may you help more people who want to go into business to give them the learnings that you want to share to them. More power, and thank you very much for the 1 hour of a very good conversation that we just had. Maraming
Thank,
maraming salamat po, and God bless to everyone.
thank you very much, Butch. And that was, I really, I mean, I'm very sorry that my computer conked out. Due to my fault, this is nobody else's fault but mine. I ignored the battery warning, and that was my fault. And actually, I like that this is a very engaging topic. It's a topic that people can relate to. It's a topic where both employers and employees can relate to, and even if you're a part of government, you can actually relate to this, you know. And it's a topic that we'd like. As usual, I'd like to tell the audience to like, share, subscribe. If especially if you find this topic very useful, go ahead and do it. Okay, and of course, I'll just tell you our next topic, because our next topic is also going to be very engaging. How to succeed and thrive in the midst of a crisis. And it'll be our guest for that day will be Michael Chua. He's a friend of mine. Mike's a friend of mine, and he also is a client of mine. So it'll be a very good topic. So it'll be the episode. It'll be the 5th episode of season 2. Now, in ending, I would like to tell everybody, and this is our proper ending, okay? Learning is a never ending process with limited vistas. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Uh, Happy leadership.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, yeah. So
So lahat kami nangangarap kami maging regular employee, but that never happened. I have to improve my attitude. I have to keep learning. Mahirap po, pero I went out my comfort zone, and then blood, sweat, and tears, just like a success story ninyo, and which made me where I am now. It's all because making that simple decision.
Let me ask you, I'm sure you are experiencing now even beyond what you imagined, correct? Oh, see? Because once you start moving in the right direction, pataas, no? I mean, it will just go, it will propel you to greater heights. Even if it is not yet true, you think, you believe, then you act like it is true. It will come true.
You know that you're already earning money.
These are the perceptions of the members.
So you're afraid to go out to your comfort zone.
It's from the media.
You should go out outside your comfort zone. So take a lead.
Good news normally are in the back pages. And if we are not wise enough, our thinking will be influenced by what we are bombarded on a daily basis.
And show them the right way. Because I believe everyone's here have a winning edge. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.